So since President Trump took office earlier this year, it was very clear to everyone. Donald Trump was clear that mass deportation was going to be one of his main agenda. And since Donald Trump has been in office, we have been talking about deportation a lot on this channel. We have covered some bizarre stories when it came on to deportation. And one of them was a few weeks ago when we covered a Jamaican born, went to the US and overstayed his visa. However, he was still able to become a police officer in America. That was one of the bizarre stories that we cover. Another one was of a Jamaican over 60 years old that spent his entire life in America but was deported to an African country. But this story today is about a former Guyanese Olympian that was a school board superintendent, and he was caught by ICE just last week, and this was the main headline last week. A school district superintendent, Dr. Ian Roberts, arrested last week by ICE because he apparently was illegal in America. How did he get such a high-profile job for an illegal immigrant? A school district superintendent earning over $300,000 in America. Let's talk about it. One of the interesting things to me when following these stories, sometimes it's not even about the stories, but it's about how the stories are being covered in America. And it is very interesting that we have seen the media in going like separate ways. So we have seen since 2025 the different coverage of these stories with the different type of media. So like a conservative media from a liberal media, the difference in how they cover these stories, especially when it comes down to mass deportation. And from earlier, I have said it, like President Obama spent 8 years as president of America. And at the end of his term, he was known as the deporter-in-chief, that President Obama deported more illegal immigrants than any other president in the history of America. And one of the things that was very concerning to me is that during Obama 8 years, we have not seen one media outrage about anything to do with illegal immigrants and how Obama became the deporter-in-chief and some of the inhumane ways that people were deported and the separation of family and stuff like that. But fast forward in 2025, now we're seeing a different coverage with Donald Trump trying to be the next deporter-in-chief and deporting people. And now we see an outcry from the media talking about the separation of families and stuff like that. So from day one, I've been consistent. Where was the outrage when Obama was deporting over 3 million people? So fast forward, now we're seeing this story, and we're seeing Dr. Ian Roberts said to be an illegal immigrant in America, and he was able to get one of the most high-profile jobs, a school district superintendent, and as I said, being paid over $300,000 as an illegal immigrant. And now we're talking about what makes you an illegal immigrant. The fact that he came there on a student visa, he overstayed his visa, and even the previous administration, the Joe Biden administration, they had a deportation order for him to be deported back to Guyana. But we see the difference in the media coverage. So this story is very, very fascinating.
Of the Iowa superintendent who was here in this country illegally and was detained by ICE has an update. We're learning he officially resigned from his job, where he had been tasked with leading public school students in Des Moines. The Des Moines School Board unanimously voting to accept the resignation, finding he no longer was authorized to work for the district.
Let's get out to correspondent Christina Thompson, who is live with the details. Christina, good morning to you.
Well, Roberts made the announcement in a letter addressed to the Des Moines Public School Board, writing, out of concern for his 30,000 students, he does not want to distract the board, educators, and staff from focusing on educating DMPS's students. His lawyers speaking on his behalf.
We're going to be working on leaving no stone unturned to protect his interest. That's our number one goal and our number one responsibility as lawyers representing him.
Now, Roberts was detained last week by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement because he had a final order of removal and no work authorization. He did enter the United States illegally from Guyana through New York back in 1999. He was on an F1 student visa to attend St. John's University in New York City. But when ICE agents arrested him last week, he was in possession of a loaded handgun, $3,000 in cash, and a fixed blade hunting knife. He also led agents on a car chase and is documented in the arrest report stating officers approached Roberts in the vehicle after identifying himself, but he sped away. Officers later discovered his vehicle abandoned near a wooded area. Roberts also has a prior gun charge possession from 2020 and was not legally authorized to work in the U.S. after his employment authorization card expired that same year. Homeland Security officials said that he was given a final order of removal by an immigration judge back in May of 2024. Now, the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division announced on Tuesday that it had also launched a probe into DMPS over its hiring practices to see whether the district discriminates against job candidates based on their color, race, or national origin. The DOJ cited their school's website that states the district requires its teaching and learning staff to match the students' population in terms of demographics and cultural responsivity. DMPS also set specific quotas for increasing the number of teachers of color in an affirmative action plan. That's according to the DOJ, saying that its staff retention strategy prioritized lifting up voices of people of color and creating a safer environment for people of color. Now, his lawyers, Dr. Roberts' lawyers did file a motion in this immigration court case to try to reopen that case from 2024 and see if it is possible for him to stay in the country longer. Emma, John?
Wow. He had the notice to leave and overstayed it. Now, who was going through the hiring process?
Yeah, that's the big question.
Christina, thank you very much.
You look at this. I mean, he had a loaded gun, $3K in cash. He led them on a chase as well. You look at what was the school. Did they do any background check on this guy? And if he didn't have employment papers to be able to work in the country, where was the cracks in the system here where he was allowed to be in front of children and be the superintendent of the school?
Yeah. And if you're trying to seek out certain diversity checkpoints here, this goes back to the merit-based argument here. Find the person who's best qualified, maybe start from a pool of American citizens to do so. There are plenty of great, amazing teachers, elevated to superintendents out there. Pick from that pool.
What was interesting, too, is some of the students led a walkout in response to this. They actually wanted him back at the school, which I thought was interesting as well, given what we've learned about his background. The students clearly maybe liked him, but at the same time, there's got to be some safety issues there as well.
All right, we'll keep an eye.
Yes, so that was a conservative media coverage. And when you look at some of the liberal coverage and the reaction, and one of the things that they're pointing out is that when Donald Trump took office, he said that, yes, the first priority was going to be criminals. Like they were trying to round up all the criminals and get them out of America. And the people are saying that, look, a school district superintendent does not qualify as a criminal. So why are they getting these people? Why is ICE targeting these people? And it is so crazy because what I find the liberal media is doing, that is also dangerous because what I've noticed is that the liberal media, they're not differentiating between immigrants and illegal immigrants. And it's not that hard, trust me. Because, yes, you can overstay your visa. Like, I'm an immigrant myself. I'm a legal immigrant. And I have been traveling for over 20 years now. And I know when I go to someone's country, if I overstay, there's always an office that you can go to extend your stay. There's always something that you can do to make sure that you're always in the right and never in the wrong. And one thing I've always said, if you're not born in a country, you always have to take precaution. You always have to be careful about every single thing that you do. So in terms of getting yourself in trouble, owning a firearm that's not legal, and all of that thing, like if you are in a foreign country, you were not born there, no matter how long you live in that country, there is a possibility that you can be deported. And that is something that I always say to any immigrant that I come across. Look, this is not our country. We're not born in this country. be safe, take precaution, do not get involved in any illegal activities, and try and walk on a straight and narrow path, because if you're not born in this country, there's always a chance that you can be deported. And that is what I always say to people. So the fact that he overstayed his visa, the fact that he got caught with 2 illegal firearms, because you're not supposed to own a firearm if you're not an American citizen, and the fact that he's on the voters list, which is another red flag, and also that he was able to obtain this job based on a false resume. It is not looking good for him, because what they're saying, he's not even a doctor because he did not finish his doctorate, and a lot of the things that are on his resume they're false. They were just, his resume was manipulated. So it is not looking good for him. And you can see that he's a very intelligent, charismatic person, and for someone to work their way to the top to make so much money, of course, he had to be charismatic and intelligent. And this is another video that came out that I saw when he was appointed the Iowa District School Superintendent. And as I said, this man is a very intelligent and very charismatic person.
Des Moines' 14th Superintendent, Dr. Ian Roberts. Dr. Roberts holds a BS in Criminal Justice from Coppin State, an MS in Education from St. John's University, and a Doctor of Education with a focus on urban educational leadership from Morgan State. Dr. Roberts currently serves as Superintendent of Mill Creek Township School District, located in Northwest Pennsylvania. Dr. Roberts is a lifelong educator who has held roles as a Chief Schools Officer, Superintendent of Secondary Schools, Principal, and Senior Vice President of a charter management organization. He has experience leading schools in a number of large and mid-sized cities, including Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and St. Louis. He is a proven champion for creating equitable opportunities for all students to thrive, and is dedicated to ensuring that focus is a central part of his work here in Des Moines. Dr. Roberts has a varied and impressive background that ranges from being named George Washington University 2013 Principal of the Year to competing in the 2000 Olympics as a track and field athlete. Dr. Roberts' record of navigating an ever-changing educational environment, including improving underperforming schools and helping high-performing schools raise the bar, provides our district with the hands-on leadership needed during this critical time. Good leaders listen and learn, and Dr. Roberts is committed to working with employees and families throughout the district to understand what is working well and where there are opportunities for improvement. Iowa's education environment continues to change, but with Dr. Roberts, the leadership team, and our staff in place working to serve our students each day, I know the future of Des Moines Public Schools is bright. On behalf of my board colleagues, thank you all. I am pleased to welcome Dr. Ian Roberts to Des Moines and Des Moines Public Schools. Dr. Roberts.
Thank you, Madam President. I stand here this evening before you with immense gratification and certainly a sense of pride and humility. I am incredibly grateful for the vote of confidence that the board has shown. It was clear to me that as I navigated this interview process, that this is a board that is relentless about being focused on at least two things amongst a litany of orders. One is they want to make sure that a superintendent is in place that will focus on improving every outcome for students. And secondly, this is a board that is certainly committed to making sure that Des Moines Public Schools continues to be a bastion in the Des Moines community. And I'm excited to be a part of this journey. You know, it is said that there is no true revelation about a society's commitment than the way in which it treats its children. And it's for that very reason that I'm excited to be a part of this work. While I'm committed to leading and serving alongside our Assistant Superintendent Matt Smith, who earlier shared with you all that there are lots of challenges ahead of us. But what is of utmost importance is the fact that I see a lot of opportunities. I remain committed to making sure that as I collaborate with every district leader, every school leader, every teacher and staff, that the 31,000 children who knock on our doors every single day in school year 23-24 will get a quality education and benefit from a group of adults who will remain focused and unwavering about our commitment to making sure that they become the best that they can be in alignment with our mission. My time in Des Moines will commence on July 1st, and I commit to hit the ground running, not the same way I did as a 2000 Olympic athlete. I'm a little slower right now, but I rest assured that while as an Olympic athlete, I competed in an individual race, I want to approach this work in Des Moines as if I am on a relay team, where every single person will have to make sure that they pass the baton around so that we can ultimately get to the finish line. And that finish line for us is grounded in the goals and the guardrails that the board, in collaboration with the superintendent and the team, has set for our students and teachers. I am a champion for teachers. I'm committed to coaching and developing leaders. But allow me to reiterate, more importantly, every single child who knocks on our doors, families rest assured they will receive a quality education that changes their trajectory for success. Des Moines, thank you for the warm and gracious welcome. I'm looking forward to becoming an integral part of this community, and I'm looking forward to the Iowa State Fair. Thank you.
Yes, so at the moment, it is not looking good for Dr. Ian Roberts. It looks like he's going to be deported to Guyana, like he's still in ICE custody. I don't know how long he's been out of Guyana. So, and being deported back to a country, especially if you don't have ties there or resources, I don't know what is going to happen, but it is not looking good for him. And one of the conversations that I'm seeing taking place online is that, did he sleep his way to the top? Because in this video, the video that you just watched, that woman in the orange, like you could see the way that she was looking at him with lust in her eyes. So there's a conversation on the internet where people are saying like these two women, especially the two white women behind him when he was addressing the audience, people were looking at them and they were saying that based on body language and based on how those women were looking at him, that there's a possibility that he might have slept his way to the top. So I don't know. But guys, sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on this one. Do you think that Dr. Ian Roberts, do you think he's going to be deported back to Guyana? And what do you think about this story? Is this story bizarre to you that he could be an illegal immigrant in America and get such a high profile job? Because $300,000 is not chicken feed. Like, I don't think most of the leaders, prime ministers in the Caribbean, they are making $300,000 US. So that's a lot of money. Sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.